Hi, friend, and welcome back to the Grace Filled Mom podcast. I am really glad you're here today. This episode is for the mom whose mind feels tired, not because she doesn't trust God, but because she's thinking through everything, weighing options, replaying conversations, second guessing decisions that you've already made. You want to choose wisely. You want to honor God. You want to do what's best for your family. But instead of feeling clarity, you feel mentally exhausted. If that sounds familiar today, we're going to be talking about grace for the mom overthinking every decision and how God's wisdom brings peace, not pressure, when our thoughts feel tangled and heavy. So, overthinking often starts with good intentions. We overthink because we care, because we want to get it right, because we don't want to miss God. But at some point, careful thoughts turn into mental spirals, and instead of feeling led, we feel stuck. We start asking, what if I choose wrong? What if I didn't hear God clearly? What if this decision affects my kids long term? And the more we think, the more unsettled we feel. So, why does overthinking feel spiritual, but it steals our peace? Overthinking can feel spiritual because we're trying to be responsible. But there's a difference between seeking wisdom and carrying pressure God never asked us to hold. Godly wisdom draws us closer to Him. Overthinking pulls us deeper into ourselves. So when our thoughts feel frantic, rushed, fear driven, that's often a sign we're no longer resting in God's guidance. We're trying to manage outcomes on our own. You see the difference? One verse that I come back to often in these particular moments is James 1:5. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives it generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. What stands out to me is not just that God gives wisdom, but how He gives it. Generously, patiently, without criticism. God doesn't sigh when we ask Him again. He doesn't shame us for needing reassurance. He invites us to come. There have been times where I've overthought decisions, not because I didn't trust God, but because I was afraid of making the wrong choice. I wanted certainty before obedience, guarantees before peace. And what I've learned is that overthinking often reveals where I'm trying to carry responsibility God never asked me to hold on to. Wisdom doesn't come from replaying every scenario. It comes from releasing the outcome to God. What's the difference between wisdom and worry? So here's a distinction that helped me. Wisdom invites peace, even when the decision is firm. Worry creates pressure, even when the choice is small. You see the difference? God's wisdom may challenge us, it may stretch us, but it doesn't trap us in mental chaos. When my thoughts feel heavy and restless, that's often my cue to pause, realign my heart, and not keep thinking harder. It stresses you out completely. In the wisdom chapter of Grace-Filled Motherhood, I talk about learning to pause instead of react, especially when emotions or fear try to take the lead. Godly wisdom doesn't demand immediate answers. It allows space to breathe, to pray, and to listen. Sometimes the wisest thing we can do is slow down and stop replaying every possible outcome. Trusting that God can guide us even if the path isn't perfectly clear. Here's a reframe of something that has helped me when I feel stuck overthinking things. Instead of asking, what's the right decision? I ask, what step would reflect trust in God right now? It completely changes your perspective on how you think about a situation. Sometimes wisdom looks like waiting, like gathering peace instead of more opinions, or choosing rest instead of urgency. God often guides us one step at a time, not all at once. James 1:5 reminds us that God gives wisdom generously. That means that you can ask again, pause again, seek clarity again. And God won't withdraw his guidance because you need reassurance. His wisdom is steady, not frantic. That's the difference with worrying and overthinking things. We get frantic because we want that answer now and we've got to figure things out. And sometimes God's answer is, we're just going to take a pause. We're going to be steady about this and we're not going to overthink everything. I've got this taken care of if you just trust me. His wisdom is not only steady, it's also patient, not pressured. There's a big difference. Here's a hope-filled reminder for you. Overthinking doesn't disqualify you from wisdom. It usually means that you care very deeply and you want to be faithful. God meets you right there, not with frustration, but with guidance. And as you learn to release the pressure to control every outcome, you may find peace returning, not because every question is answered, but because God is trusted and he's handling the situation. As we close today, I want to leave you with this encouragement. God's wisdom is not hidden from you. It's available, it's generous, and it's patient. If your mind feels tired from overthinking, take that as an invitation to rest in God's guidance instead of carrying that weight alone. Next week, we'll talk about grace for the mom whose faith feels different than other moms, and how God meets us when comparison quietly creeps in. I hope you'll tune into that with me. Thank you for being here today. May God's wisdom bring calm to your thoughts and confidence to your next step, right where you are. I hope to see you next week.